It's a final lap here on Breakfast Central, and we do have the front pages of the newspapers to look into. Of course, we do have the publisher, the niche newspaper, drum rolls, Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi is here with us live.
Fantastic analysis. I always look forward to this segment, especially when it's on. We're happy to have you join us.
And someone sent me a message, was it last week, and said, this your paper analysis, this your paper analyst. He looks calm, but when he starts talking, he spits fire.
Everywhere vibrates.
Everybody gonna collect.
Everywhere begins to move.
And I said, that's what it is.
So
it is what it is.
Let's start.
But welcome.
Thank you, Joe. Thanks for joining us. Let's start with the Punch newspaper. There's so much news on the front page of the Punch. And this is one that will definitely draw a lot of reactions. FG Mo's pay raise for political office holders. In other words, the federal government is thinking of increasing their salaries. The Revenue Mobilization and Fiscal Commission, RMAFC, says President Tinubu's 1.5 million naira salary. Ministers' salaries are under 1 million naira, low, and launches revenue sharing review.
Let me read.
That's the body in
it.
charge of allocation.
Let me go, because I went to the article.
The president of Nigeria,
I went to
with
the
all
article.
the problems of the country, earning 1.5 million naira.
The RMAFC chairman, Mohammed Shehu, says, and I quote, in an article in The Punch, he says, "You are paying the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1.5 million naira a month with a population of over 200 million people. Everybody believes that it is a joke." Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi, your thoughts?
Well, if the president earns 1.5 million naira, you will say it's a joke, but the truth of the matter is that the Nigerian president does not earn 1.5 million naira. It's as simple as that. And again, the bigger truth is that there's no difference, and that's particularly important. We need to get this right. Nigeria is about the only country, about the only democracy where there's no difference between the public and the private purse. And what do I mean by that? On paper, the president earns 1.5 million naira, but the president has all the powers on earth to spend Nigeria's money, even without appropriation by the National Assembly. And look, I think we get our priorities wrong in this country. The National Assembly, our federal legislators, are perhaps the highest earning lawmakers anywhere in the world. Our political office holders earn more than most political office holders anywhere in the world. In other countries, lecturers, doctors are paid more. But here, how much does an average professor who has spent perhaps 30, 35 years teaching in the university, how much does he earn? And look, the more we continue making our political offices very lucrative, the more we incentivize people to go into public office. And we are talking about...
For the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reason. And we're talking about people. Look, public office ought to be for service. I'm not saying that you get out of office pauperized, but you must have something that is the motivating factor that takes you to office, not necessarily to acquire wealth. Here, public office is direct routes to affluence. You see somebody who was traveling on 9th bus just yesterday, he gets elected into the parliament as a member of the executive arm of government or even appointed, and he's acquiring a private jet. Even if he's not acquiring a private jet, he no longer flies commercial airlines. He must travel on chartered flight. People live life of luxury in a country where millions of Nigerians are in the poverty loop. Well, the Ramfac chairman may continue to say it is a joke that the president earns 1.5 million. The president does not earn 1.5 million. And let him show me that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu earns 1.5 million.
And then our ministers earn under 1 million.
And what was it with the public servants? Let's use the word servants in this case so that it clarifies why and what they ought to be known for and what they ought to do. Why is it that the salaries they earn is shrouded in secrecy? It's hidden. Barely can you ask one of them to say, okay, how much is your salary? Like Anne Olive had spoken to a member of the assembly, and Senator Nwaboye, we asked him how much. Said if we see his salary, we're going to whip for him. And if we see his salary, it's not even enough. He's sure that when we see his salary, we would want to contribute to him. And we're wondering, but 160 million naira was given to you for cars, just only. What about the other monies that are being given?
Yeah.
And so on and so forth. So is it that it's a deliberate process to just keep Nigerians blinded and shrouded in this? What's it?
It is. They can't tell you because they know that if they tell you, you'll be outraged. They can't tell you. These guys are simply bleeding the country. They're simply bleeding the country. And the sad thing is that we borrow this money and spend it on consumption and spend it on servicing bloated bureaucracy and spend it on convoys. A president traveling with a 50-car convoy. What for? What are the ministers don't fly commercial distance again. They go on chartered flights. So an average trip takes you about 10, 15 million naira public money. Who does that?
And you can do a few of those in a week.
Who does that?
Maybe twice in a week.
Look, we continue saying Nigeria is poor. Yes, Nigeria is poor, but that is essentially because of the greed of a few. If we manage our resources well, we won't be where we are now. Because we are endowed. Naturally, we are endowed. And we have the human capacity to really drive this country. But the few who are there are not there for service. So when you say public servants, they are not there for service. They are there for self-aggrandizement. And because they don't care about the people. That is why they go out of their way to rig elections, to kill, to maim. Nobody kills, maims, rigs election to serve public good. It is not done. Anybody who gives you money for you to vote for him is not coming there to serve you. He's coming there in the first place, he's going to recoup whatever he has spent before any other thing. And as long as there is no difference between private and public till in this country, we continue to be in the mess that we are in. Look, it is even better at the center. If you go to some states, when a governor travels, the state comes to a standstill.
Just presidents moving from island to mainland. You have to be praying and plan your life. If not, third mainland bridge, a part will be cordoned off.
That is even presidential movement, as they call it. That is different from what I'm talking about.
Yeah, activities in the state.
Everything
economic
comes
activities.
to a standstill because the governor is the state writ large. The governor is the state. So if he's out of there, nothing
can happen. Oh, okay, I get what you mean.
And most of these governors live in Abuja virtually. So until they come back, nothing. Everything is grounded. No country runs
Quite
like
sad,
that.
Quite
Okay,
sad. Now,
very sad.
there's another big story here. The return of Fubara, September 18. Fubara eyes September 18 comeback as IBAS pushes project completion in Cross River State. What do you make of this? In River State, I beg your pardon.
Of course, that's the pseudo-democracy that we have.
Does it mean that the crisis, the so-called security lapse that was going to happen, the fear, the reason why Admiral Ibas was appointed in the first place, that danger has been averted? There's now peace in River State, and the issue of the security concerns have been resolved. So you don't see an extension to this. You think Mr. Fubara will be back in Government House, Port Harcourt, on September the 18th?
The only security issue that those who suspended Fubara saw was Fubara. Fubara was the security threat that they saw. Now that they have contained him, in quotes, maybe the security threat has been removed. Now, Fubara is going into that office, if he goes back, defanged.
Dewinged.
He's not going to play the role a governor ought to play. He has now ceded all these things back to Wike, the Federal Capital Territory minister, which was the issue, ab initio. If by the end of this month, IBAS is going to conduct local government election, which is an illegality, and conducting local government election means that you are returning Wike to power in the grassroots in River State. So the budget going forward will now be that Wike will approve. So Fubara is going to be mere figurehead, and he has accepted all these conditions. So there's no longer any security threat. The security threat was not that there was anything going on in River State that so much endangered the peace of the state.
So the threat, you think, is because he wasn't playing ball with the powers that be?
That was all.
Okay.
That was all.
I wonder what's going to be left of his time in office. Like you say, he's going to go back the winged, and I wonder,
defanged and dewinged. Yep.
If the people of River State will get
And
the governor
declawed.
that they voted in.
They won't.
It's what a shame.
They won't.
Okay. I want to
They will get a governor that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, president of Nigeria, is giving them, and that governor is not the Fubara that the people elected. This is a mere, I'm sorry to say, that is going to be more or less like an effigy in the government house.
So
and power is going to reside outside that government house.
Going from a lion and a tiger to a pussycat.
Yeah.
Let's look at another story. Very
This one of the big story in the
Customs
Vanguard.
issue 14-day deadline to seize 905 overtime cargoes. I'm aware you're following the FOB. You've seen importers, exporters crying about the increase in tariff, and now Customs is telling them that in 14 days, if cargoes remain there, they're going to seize them, 905 of them.
It is still part of this, Joe, it is still part of this cost of doing business in Nigeria. You can't because you want to generate revenue, now customs wants to come out every time to tell us how many trillions of naira they have generated. And you are frustrating people who are doing legitimate business. You are almost driving them out of business. Because when you hike tariffs, import duties, beyond what these people can afford to pay, that is why most people now divert to Benin Republic, to Cotonou, or even to other countries within the ECOWAS sub-region in order to clear their goods. Because what you pay in Nigeria to clear goods is simply outrageous. But of course now the government is doubling down on all this because the only level of governance that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu understands is money, money, bring in more money, bring in more money. That was what informed the removal of fuel subsidy. That was what informed the increase in electricity tariff and all that. But you're not talking about the people. Many people are going out of business. The importers are no longer in business. And if you drive people out of business, you're going to make unemployment worse than it was. So how can you actually solve the problem of the economy?
All right. You know what? Let's hold on. We'll come back. We're going to a very quick break. We'll come back and we'll take the last lap reviewing the papers. Please stay with us.
You're welcome back to News Central TV, Breakfast Central, and we're still looking at the newspaper front pages. We have Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi here for analysis on the big stories. Olive, before we went on the break,
yes,
while we were on the break, speaking of camera, we're talking about a very important issue.
And it's a story that has reflected in the next two papers, that's the Daily Independent as well as the Vanguard. On the front page of the Daily Independent, the big story there, Nigerians to provide 5-year social media activity, according to the U.S. Embassy. And Vanguard also reports, federal government vows equal response as U.S. tightens visa rules.
Visa for visa.
So, a summary of what they're saying here is, if you're to apply for a U.S. visa as a Nigerian, you have to provide your social media accounts, every social media accounts that you've used in the past 5 years. And you cannot omit anyone. If you have, maybe those of you who have used multiple names and you've opened several accounts, you must name every single thing. If you have an anonymous account you're using to troll people, you must name it. And the implication of
because they have a way of finding out.
Exactly. The implication of not listing every social media handle in your D160 application is that you could be denied your visa and you might be barred from future applications.
Yeah. I mean, getting to America seems very, very
You know what came to my mind just before Mr. Amaechi speaks? I mean, as we were winding down, I thought to myself this morning when I heard the story, and I said to myself, if only Africa in its immense knowledge was able to also focus in developing its own app.
Exactly.
You won't be able to tell. Imagine Africa telling you that
America is just one country in over 200 countries. Is it heaven?
Well, anyway, so that's the update. It says if you've used more than, it's not just platform. Applicants who have also used more than one platform or more than one username, handle, or telephone number on a single platform within the same period are also mandated to list them in the DS-160 form. Now, the federal government of Nigeria has also said that they're going to give equal response, and that every American who's also coming to Nigeria, they'll be treating them in the same way that they've treated us Nigerians.
Yeah, if you're coming in from Minnesota, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, you have to do the same for us, you know what I'm saying?
It's already because your take on this diplomacy row. Or like my friend would say, diplomacy rule.
what Trump is trying to do, unfortunately, he is not the president of the world. He is the president of the United States of.
But he said so. He said. I remember the video. He said he's the president. Was a world president.
He is not.
You know,
he is not. He's the president.
In the world of Washington.
He's the president of the United States of America. He can't do this to the Chinese because look, he's only doing this to those people he thinks. Trump is a bully, and the psychology of a bully is that if he thinks he can bully you, there are no limitations.
And he also thinks he won't get a response. Yes.
To what he will do to you. But he can't bully Russia. He gave Putin a 50-day ultimatum to agree to a peace deal. He reduced it to 12 days. All of a sudden,
he still rolled out red carpet in Alaska.
He is now holding a peace talk, and Putin got there and did not give him any
definite feedback. Yeah.
Any deal, and he's breathing down on the neck of Zelensky because that's the country and the man he can bully. So it is Trump being Trump. But you know, what it means is that he's telling Nigerians not to come. I think it's as simple as that. I don't blame him. I blame our leaders that have made our country a good-for-nothing country, a laughing stock. Because if Nigeria were to harness its potentials, if we were to have a leadership that will rise to the occasion, I don't think any country in the world will treat us the way Trump is beginning to treat Nigerians. What is simply telling you, stay in your country, don't come to my country. And it is high time we introspect. We begin to ask ourselves, what is it we are not doing well? Unfortunately, I don't see a change of heart in what the leadership of this country is doing.
But we've said we will reciprocate.
But in all fairness to Trump, I think this also I don't know if it was Trump in office in 2019, because this rule, I think why it's come back again is because there was a tweet, because I've just checked their page, the U.S. mission Nigeria, U.S. in Nigeria had put out a tweet. But I know that this was announced in 2019, was introduced in 2019.
He was in office in 2019.
Yeah,
Joe Biden came into office in 2020 and left in 2024.
Yeah, so it's his thing.
So it's still his thing.
And talking about countries and development, if you look at the front page of the Vanguard and also the front page of the Daily Independent, can we have those papers up, please? There's something I want to point at. That it shows that. Can we have producers, please? Can we have the front page of the Vanguard newspaper?
All right. So which story are you talking about?
Yeah, the front page picture.
That's a picture of President Bola Tinubu being received by Ambassador.
Yes.
Idio Mastubara.
So the president has gone to Japan for the 9th Tokyo International Conference on Africa Development. There's a Russia-Africa conference. There's a Turkey-Africa conference. There's a US Africa conference, UK Africa conference. Everybody is talking about the growth and development of Africa, apart from Africans ourselves. And, you know, when these world leaders summon African leaders, they're always quick to go there with their entourage. And are there any tangible benefits to this, or is it just a talk show?
None.
And is it about time the African Union steps up and rise to their responsibilities? Because the other day I heard an analyst, he said, you know, African Union is an old boys club for dictators. That's what they just do there, because it's gotten to the level of, it's almost insulting, because everybody has a Russia, an Africa summit where they just summon African leaders. And What do the people gain out of all this?
If we get our acts together, Africa has enormous resources. In fact, more resources than, look, the resources in a country like Congo, even Nigeria, are some of the premium natural resources that the world needs to develop. They need us, but leadership is failing Africa completely. They said, the analysis you said that somebody made was spot on. Look at Paul Biya. What is Paul Biya doing in Cameroon? And the man still wants to contest election. What are all these dinosaurs doing in African countries, calling themselves leaders? The man in Cote d'Ivoire is about to change the constitution, or has actually changed the constitution to go for a fourth term, which was not there in the constitution in the first place. So they will continue to insult us. They will continue to insult us as long as we refuse, as Africans, as black people, to put our hands together. Why is it that African countries don't also summon European leaders to these Nasomis in Africa? Why is it, like you said, almost every other country in the world, China will call, and all the African presidents will pack themselves in aeroplanes and fly?
I don't remember when there was a terrorist attack in Paris on François Hollande. They did Je suis Paris. Presidents of the Sahel states, all of them just packed them. They were walking on their hand in hand on the streets of Paris, saying no to terrorism. It's just it's absurd.
It is sad. It will remain so as long as we have leaders in Africa who don't seem to understand what it is. Okay, President Bola Tinubu has gone to Japan. Let us see what he's going to return with. For 2 years now, he recalled all Nigerian ambassadors from all the foreign missions. 2 years down the road, he is not able to reconstitute. And you know the role ambassadors play. They are our eyes and ears. They speak for us. They intercede. Now, there is no point of contact between us and all these other countries. And President Tinubu is jumping into every available flight to go out there. Is he...
He's taking the role of chief diplomat.
When a chief diplomat, what has he been able to achieve? They're talking about foreign direct investment, and they are lying about it. How many investors have come in into the country?
We have to wrap up the conversation now because we've come to the end of the show. Mr. Ikechukwu Amaechi, thank you for joining us.